is our second step for weaving. We're going to do a step that's called twining. For this, you're going to need your cotton string and some scissors and your fully warped loom. I warped my loom in the last step, and I talked about pulling the warp strings tight. So you should be able to sort of pull them back and they sort of spring out of the way. When you do that, it might make your warp a little curved. That's okay. You don't want it to be more than this though. This is about a 1/2 inch of gapping here. And the string that you need to cut needs to be 2 times the width of your frame. So I've pre-cut my piece here to that length. So you just kind of stretch it out, maybe just go past the edges a little bit, fold, and then cut, and you know you have something that's twice the width. So twining creates a series of knots at the base of your weaving that keeps everything from falling off when you take it off of the loom. So what I'm going to do is take this string and I'm going to pass it underneath my first warp string. I'm going to bring the 2 ends together and just pull tight like that and bring it down towards the bottom. Now I'm going to separate these 2 strings out. And I'm going to start with the one on the left. And I'm going to go up, pick up my second warp string and pass it behind and then bring it down. Now I'm going to pick up the string that's on the left, the other half of my string. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to go up like this, pick up the third warp string and go behind. We're going to keep repeating this pattern over and over and over again. So I'm going to pick up the back one, piece that was on the left, and I'm going to pick up the 4th warp string. So notice that I'm always just going, picking the string up and I'm moving my hand forward and I'm going behind the next warp string. And this bringing it up is important because that's what creates the twist right here. So bringing this up and then behind the next warp string. So just be careful that you don't skip any when you're doing this process. And if you do want to go back and catch it because we don't want any of these, the colorful weaving that we put on to fall off in the end. So this takes a couple minutes to get through the whole thing. I'm going to try to cruise along here. After you've gone a couple of inches, you can take these strings and sort of pull them a little bit. I don't want to pull too tight, so I'm going to pull this just gently here. See when I pulled that, how that made this move in? That's too tight, so I'm going to pull it back a little. I want to pull both of them just gently so that they get kind of into a straight, tight line. And then I'm going to put them back down and continue with twining. When I get to the end, I'm going to tie what's called a square knot. And a square knot is how you tie your shoelaces if you were to tie your shoelaces into a knot. And so the way to do that would be to take your 2 ends and go like this, pull it down, and then do that a second time. I'm not going to pull that tight right here because I still need to finish twining this piece. So I'm going to continue this step all the way down to the end and tie my knot right here. I'll check back in with you about this twining step at the beginning of our next video.